No, this movie is not about Tony Hawk or Tony Todd, and it's not about the creation of Frosted Flakes. It's about a man who wasn't even publicly known by the name Tony. But it covers a period in Anthony Bourdain's life when he did go by Tony, one particular summer while he was in college. I really don't know much about Anthony Bourdain, just that he was a food guy, but I was curious to see this because of Dominic Sessa in the lead role, who I really liked in his debut film The Holdovers a couple years ago. It's directed by Matt Johnson, who many may know because of Nirvana, the band, the show, but he also made Blackberry a couple years ago for a movie that's kind of similar to this. And I often see sentiments of people who don't want to see biopics if they don't already know a lot about the person. That doesn't make any sense to me. If anything, I'm the opposite. Like, if I already know a story, I'm much less interested in seeing you portray this story that I already know and probably getting parts of it wrong. I'd rather learn a new story about a new guy. So sure, let me go see this story about this part of Anthony Bourdain's life, and this was a pretty solid little biopic. It's nothing groundbreaking, it doesn't do anything earth-shattering, but I had a good time. This movie really paints him as just being a total douchebag. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else, he's lying to everybody all the time, he's trying to be a writer, and so he's pitching this novel idea to a board so that he can get this fellowship. And he's like, oh yeah, those guys are so dumb. They fell hook, line, and sinker for my idea. I totally got this. I'm just so much better than everybody. And then come to find out, maybe he's not as hot shit as he thought he was. And from there, he kind of starts to spiral, doesn't really know what to do with himself. And he winds up working in this kitchen. I don't even know if I can say working. It's not a job. He's not getting paid. The only reason he's actually working there is so that he can sleep on the chef's hammock because he needs a place to stay. But the chef is played by Antonio Banderas, and through getting to know him and being mentored by him, getting to know the other guys in this kitchen, he starts to grow and develop as a person and realize he needs to get off his high horse a little bit. Dominic Sessa, very good at playing like a sad young guy in the 70s. I don't know what other roles he can do. I haven't seen him in anything else between The Holdovers and now, but he is very good here at just being really unlikable at first. I'm like, all right, you're going to have to do some work to get me on this guy's side, but it's a pretty satisfying journey that he goes on, and Antonio Banderas is really good in this as this older chef who's clearly been through a lot in his life and is giving these young, troubled guys these second chances. And I really like their scenes together. Sometimes it's just the quiet stuff, like them standing in the kitchen together, just working on something, and they're not even talking, but you can just see Anthony Bourdain kind of watching him and gaining a respect for him and his talents and for cooking. Leo Woodall's really good as a guy who works in the kitchen and is a pretty crazy bastard. By the way, speaking of him, if you haven't seen the movie Tuner that came out a couple months ago, check it out. It's really good. And then you got Emilia Jones as his love interest. All the actors across the board, really good. I like the way it was directed, good music. Overall, just a well-made snapshot of this guy's life that works really well, even if you know nothing about him. Like, it works as just a coming-of-age story. The novel that he wants to write at the beginning, he specifies is a coming-of-age story. So they're really telling you that's what this movie is. Whatever context you have for what Anthony Bourdain went on to do later in his life, it doesn't even really matter. Like, you might get extra enjoyment out of it knowing that, but it functions completely as its own story with a satisfying ending, even if this was just a piece of fiction. It's a satisfying story about people getting second chances, and not only about somebody figuring out what they want to do and who they want to be, but how to make that happen. There's a line where Antonio Banderas tells him, you can be anything you want to be, but right now you're nothing. He's always going on about how, I'm a writer. Why would I want to work in this kitchen? I'm a writer, and I'm all this, and I'm all that. And he's like not actually putting in the work to become any of that and earn any of that. He just thinks he's great already, and he needs to learn that humility and how to become a person who is actually respectable. I also really like the setting, this small coastal town in, I believe, Massachusetts, where he's working at this little restaurant, sleeping on a hammock. There's like a cozy vibe to the whole thing. Now, this is a predictable movie. He starts off as a douchebag, and I wonder if through his experiences of meeting other people in this small town, he will grow as a person. Of course, you know exactly where it's going, but it does it well. It makes it work. The characters, the performances, and everything. It's solid, but it's just nothing new. And I do feel like it's pretty overlong because of that, because I really understand exactly what we're doing here. It's only like 100 minutes, maybe something like that, but it feels pretty dragged out. Like I was already feeling like this is going on for a while. And then a character who had been in the earlier parts of the movie, but kind of disappeared for a while, came back, and I was like, oh, we're doing even more stuff now. We're going to be going on for a little while longer. It really feels like it drags a bit. It could have been shaved down to 90 minutes. Or if not trimming the runtime, maybe make some of the supporting characters more interesting, namely the love interest. Emilia Jones is good, but I didn't really feel the connection between them. Maybe if you had had more development there for her and more scenes with them, maybe I wouldn't have felt the runtime as much, but there were scenes like that not only felt predictable, but also I just wasn't as invested in. And maybe they're all true, because this is a woman that he did end up getting married to later, but you gotta sell me on it in the movie. And he's such a prick at the beginning. I never really bought that she would even humor him at all. Never even bother with the second chances. And you gotta sell me that they're gonna get together. I never really believed it at any point, and I never felt like I got to know her very well. She was always just kind of reactive to him. Like when he's a douchebag, she's gonna kind of snarkily dismiss him, but with a little wink that, you know, maybe if you come find me, I might be interested later. And then as he grows as a person, well, she becomes more receptive, and she always just felt like she was an accompaniment to him, and he's the main character. But if you're gonna have these scenes together and try to get me invested in them, I gotta understand and care about her too, and about them together, and I never really did. So this is no masterpiece by any means, but I had a good time. It made me want to learn a little bit more about the man, which I did when I got home from the theater. I scrolled through his Wikipedia article for a while, learning a little bit more about what he did after the events of this film, because it is a satisfying journey depicted here. It's not something I'm gonna watch again, but as somebody who didn't really know much about Anthony Bourdain, this was an interesting story that just happens to center around a younger version of him. You don't need to know anything about him at all if you just want to see a well-made coming-of-age story. It's pretty good. But if you've seen Tony, leave your thoughts in the comments, whether you agree or disagree. We can talk about it down there. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more from me. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you for the next one.